my leadership presentation, I chose to study Rosalynn Carter as an ethical leader. So, a brief biography of Rosalynn Carter. She was the wife of Jimmy Carter, who was the 39th President of the United States. She did a lot of advocacy work in which she focused on protecting the mentally ill and emotionally handicapped from discrimination and other mental health issues. Her other primary causes included the welfare of senior citizens, immunization rights, and human rights. Overall, she just wanted to make positive changes within the mental health field and to create a better world for other people. She wanted to promote public awareness and to reduce the stigma that was associated with mental health issues at the time. A brief background or overview of ethical leadership. It's the influence of a moral person who leads others to do the right thing in the right way for the right reasons. So in other words, it's a good person who influences others to accomplish a common good, which is to make the world a better, fairer, and more humane place. So for this, to study her as an ethical leader, I studied 2 articles. The first one, which studied the key elements of ethical leadership, talked about these main 4 aspects of ethical leadership. The first one is using social power to influence others positively. The second one is being socially responsible, in which the leader feels obligated to follow moral rules and is concerned about the well-being of the followers, and which should go without saying, but basically not enacting any harm against followers, maintaining normatively appropriate conduct through personal actions and interpersonal relationships, and maintaining two-way communication, reinforcement, and decision-making. They're also just and fair as leaders, which means that they're respectful, they don't seek benefits at the expense of others, and they're honest and open with their followers. Also, they are not emphasizing personal interest. In other words, according to the article, the more salient that personal interests are made by the leader, the more likely the leader is to act on those personal interests, and therefore the importance of the cause decreases. So it's important for leaders to act on the best interests of the group as a whole, and therefore also in relation to the causes they're advocating. In terms of how it applies to Rosalynn Carter, her social power derived from the fact that she was the wife of Jimmy Carter. He started off as a Georgia senator and later became the governor of Georgia, and it was through his campaigning, through his political climb, that she gained her social power. Mainly during the campaigning, she became deeply interested in mental health issues. And after finding this interest, she followed it and used her position of power to overhaul Georgia's mental health system, and she became a member of the Governor's Commission to improve services to the mentally and emotionally handicapped, an honorary chairperson of the Georgia Special Olympics, and a volunteer at an Atlanta hospital. So she basically took her new interests and went running with it. And in terms of not using her power for personal gain, she didn't try to step on anyone to accomplish what she wanted, to abuse her husband's political power and her resulting power for her personal gains, which was very clear in the fact that, for example, she ran the White House in a very frugal manner. She wore simple, non-designer clothing, so she wasn't using her money or power for her own personal gains, and therefore she channeled all of her energy into improving the world and to advocating the causes. The second article that I looked at was the key elements of ethical leadership. While the first article focused more on the behaviors, this article focuses more on the personal qualities of ethical leaders. So it stated that ethical leaders possess specific qualities which included demonstrating care, trustworthiness, honesty, and fairness, and described ethical leaders as principled individuals who make fair and balanced decisions. Their main roles are communicating the importance of ethics to followers, caring about others and their well-being, and engaging in explicit communication about ethical issues. How it applied to Rosalynn Carter in terms of trustworthiness, she was the first presidential candidate's wife to ever make her own promise and follow promise was that at First Lady she would make the welfare of the nation's mentally ill her top priority. And not only did she make this promise, but she kept it, and she served as, in addition to the other roles that I previously mentioned, an honorary chair on the active honorary chair president's Commission on Mental Health, whose work resulted in the Mental Health Systems Bill, which was passed in September of 1980. She, in terms of caring about others, she cared primarily about protecting the mentally ill and the elderly. She created a task force to review federal programs for the elderly and lobby Congress for the passage of the Age Discrimination Act. And her main goal, her central goal in all of this work, was to create a fair world for all people, regardless of their age, regardless of their ability in terms of emotional, mental, physical disabilities. And in conclusion, Rosalynn Carter demonstrated ethical leadership in her sense of social responsibility, her just and fair actions, her honesty, caring, and trustworthiness. She didn't take advantage of anyone or try to gain anything for herself in the process, so even while she was gaining money and power and recognition, she didn't try to take any of it on herself or increase her appearance or anything like that. She was more focused on just on advocating for the causes that she wanted. She was driven by her care for other people, and she used her power wisely to make the world a better place, which was strong evidence for her as an ethical leader. And my sources.